It's that time again. Every time we hit a major subscriber milestone, I like to draw a little mushroom lady doing a thing and experiencing life. We did one at 100 subs, one at 350 subs, which I meant to do at 250, but it just got away from me. And now we're doing one at 500 subs, but enough for the intro. Let's draw some mushroom. As many of you know, the last couple of weeks, I requested that you all send in some of your favorite pictures of plants or mushrooms, and I got so many really cool recommendations, and I tried to pick the ones that covered as many people's suggestions as possible. I had a really awesome time looking through them. Some people sent me one recommendation, some people sent me a whole bunch, like a whole Pinterest board, but either way, I was thrilled to just be getting pictures of cool plants and mushrooms because I love them. So besides, of course, my standard mushroom girl, I ended up picking 7 different plants or mushrooms as per recommendations from all of you. In no particular order, I picked the black oyster mushroom, Mycena chlorophyllus, the veiled lady mushroom, painted lady ferns, the corpse flower, sagebrush, and what I think are chestnuts, but honestly I'm not 100% positive. I'll get into the details of each of those and who submitted them and all that, but first, I know I said I would limit the choices to forest plants and mushrooms specifically, but I simply could not. Some of these pictures were just so cool that I absolutely had to draw them. I'm drawing these characters in a much more cartoony style than usual, just because there were so many characters to have to deal with, and I wanted to pick one of my quicker rendering styles, which I hope is okay with all of you. I typically like to take more time on a mushroom milestone, just because it's a drawing that sort of represents my appreciation and gratitude towards everyone, but my usual art making hours were cut a little short this week as a result of traveling for a relative's graduation this past weekend, and also having to work a couple of closing shifts. I really should adjust my schedule so that 10 to midnight 30 aren't my peak working hours for making art, but Speaking of last weekend, another kind of cool thing is that it was my birthday last Sunday on May 7th, so reaching 500 plus subscribers was a really exciting birthday gift for me. And I know I probably should have mentioned it sooner because my internet friends yelled at me because I never told them my birthday, but I had a very peaceful and relaxed birthday. The graduation was very conveniently located relatively close to where my parents live, so I got to spend time with them and my sisters, and my younger sister made and decorated this really beautiful cake for me. She made the frosting herself and the filling had raspberries, and it was absolutely amazing. So yeah, I drew a little cake that is representative of the cake that I received on my birthday. And I sort of envisioned that this is a picture of the 3rd or 4th grade class where everyone is celebrating Mushroom Milestone Girl's birthday. Maybe I should come up with an actual name for her. So beside Mushroom Milestone Girl, which is based off of a mushroom I saw in Poland that I don't know the name of, but my theory is that it's Russula emetica, but I'm not actually positive. Let's go through the other characters that are in this group photo. I sort of hopped around in the drawing from character to character a little bit, so the voiceover and the video are not really going to match up amazingly, but we're all doing our best here. Sitting down on the ground on the left, we have a shy little guy with a bandage on his nose and curly hair. This character was inspired by Mycena chlorophyllus, a mushroom recommended by a couple of people, but I'm going to attribute the suggestion to Brunilla. Mycena chlorophyllus can be found in subtropical Asia, and in Japan, it's called yakotake, or the nightlight mushroom. In daytime, the mushroom is a very unassuming brownish-gray, sticky-capped mushroom. However, at night, the bioluminescent nature of these mushrooms can be seen as they emit a sort of pale green light. I wasn't planning on drawing the scene at night for just this one character, but I really wanted to draw the bioluminescent aspect of him, so I thought maybe for Mushroom Girl's birthday, he really just turned up the bioluminescence to 11 to be sort of dressed up for the event. The character sort of sitting kneeling to the right of our Mushroom Milestone Girl is inspired by the corpse flower. I was so surprised that I got so many requests for this one in particular, but I'm going to give it to Dragon Free Gaming 78. Now there are 2 flowers out there that go by corpse flower, the Titan arum as well as the Rafflesia. Among the pictures I received, it seemed like people were leaning towards the Rafflesia, plus it's native to Sabah, Borneo, which is the island my mother was born on, so I went with that one, which I hope everyone is okay with. Honestly, both of the corpse flower designs made me wish that I had done this challenge a little later down the line because these would have made some incredible non-child fantasy outfits and armor. The Rafflesia is a massive flower with no stem, no leaves, and no roots, but actually is something called a holoparasite. It places one of its organs, called the hostorium, I think, inside a vine, and it absorbs nutrients alongside the vine, which allows it to grow and reproduce. And if you don't know why it's called the corpse flower, that's because it stinks like rotting flesh, and that's how it attracts its pollinators. For this character's design, I created a collar to sort of replicate the center of the corpse flower, and then gave her hair pieces like the petals of the flower, and also put little bumps all over her skin to sort of mimic the pattern that you can see on the petals. For the rest of her dress, I wanted to put her in something that was a nod towards traditional clothing in Borneo, and while traditional clothing is typically black, it often features this really nice gold trim that I wanted to put into this character's design. The character on the right that is in this green suit holding the teddy bear is a character inspired by these pictures, which were submitted to me by Somewhat Chaotic Squid God, and they honestly had a ton of really awesome pictures that they submitted, and I wanted to do so many of them. But this one in particular really stood out to me, and I think it's chestnuts. But if anyone knows otherwise, please let me know. Anyways, they reminded me of those zip-up dinosaur onesie costumes that they have for kids, or actually in particular just this frog hoodie from Motokawa. I imagine that this kid just loves wearing this to school. His mom always tries to make sure that he combs his hair and dresses up nice, but eventually it's just a battle not worth fighting every morning. So he goes to school in this onesie with his little teddy bear that also has spikes on his head, because I think it's cute when kids and their favorite toys kind of match, because I don't know, bonding and self-esteem or something. I never have a child, and I don't know how to raise one of those at all. Going back to the left, I have this adorable girl that is probably one of my favorite designs on the entire page. I was sent a picture of painted lady ferns by Azimatra, and also I'm sorry about all the pronunciations in this video. I'm sure they are all wrong, all bad. But upon seeing this frosty looking fern with burgundy stems, I knew what I wanted to draw pretty much immediately. I wanted to have purple undertones in the shadows with this frosty greenish hair with texture that sort of resembles the pretty fern leaves. I also gave her burgundy undertones in her skin color, her cheeks, her lips, the highlights, and I just think it creates such a perfect and rich contrast, and I love this design. Next to Miss Fern and leaning in front of Chlorophyos, we have the black oyster mushroom, submitted by a couple people, but I'm going to give credit to Moo Star Dreams. Oyster mushrooms are very delicious mushrooms that grow in clusters. They can come in white, golden, pink, and even blue tones. The little round tops of the mushrooms remind me of the way that berets look, so I gave her a beret and a short bob, and I also gave her a ribbed turtleneck sweater because that's what the texture of the way that the gills on an oyster mushroom sort of blends down into the stem reminds me of. And I know I'm working on the top right now, but I wanted to save that character for last because I wanted to talk about it for a bit. So we're moving on to the leftmost character in this picture, which is the veiled lady mushroom. Requested again by several, but I'm going to give credit to Glucosius. This is another design that I think would have made a really cool armor set or just a fantasy ball gown, so I'm going to have to save it in my back pocket and come back to it when I do a milestone down the road where I probably redraw these characters but grown up, if I remember. Hopefully I do. Veiled Lady is actually an extremely useful mushroom, and it is considered a delicacy, and it was served at Empress Dowager Shi-Chi's 60th birthday during the Qing dynasty in a dish called Bird's Nest 8 Immortal Soup. It's a soup served at longevity banquets that contains the ingredients that were considered to be all the precious food. It was also used in medicine since it has anti-inflammatory properties, and it produces hydroxymethylfurfural, which is a tyrosinase inhibitor, which basically tyrosinase causes the browning in fruits, and hydroxymethylfurfural prevents that undesirable browning from happening, and I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the tallest character, which is a sagebrush character. I know she's not on screen, but this one was recommended by my good friend Terrapin Arts, who was one of the people who yelled at me for not disclosing my birthday in a timely manner. Sagebrush, I know, is technically not a forest plant. In fact, it's a desert plant, but it's a plant plant that is crucial to the desert ecosystem that is native to the west side of the United States. Now, I did not leave myself nearly enough time to talk about the history of the sagebrush sea and its decline over the years, but sagebrush has so much beauty, so much value, from being part of the only ecosystem that sagebrush grouse can live in, to being used for culinary, medicinal, and spiritual purposes. And Terrapin and I just wanted to leave you with a little something to keep in mind at the end of the day. Whether you live in an area with native sagebrush, or if you live farther away, there are definitely many groups that you can either donate to, work with, or at the very least, just take a quick look into to see if you can help or help spread awareness. There's the Sage Grouse Initiative, Defenders of Wildlife, the Nature Conservancy, just to name a few. This is a topic that is very near and dear to my friend Terrapin's heart, and now that I'm aware of it, it's a subject that's close to my heart too. So if you can research and inform yourself, that's awesome as is, and if you can take a more active approach to helping out, that's even cooler. At the end of the day, we should all be mindful about the environment. We take so much from the earth, we should all remember to try and give back every once in a while. Normalize biodiverse lawns. With that message, we have come to the end of our video, and I wanted to thank you all: Brunella, Glucosius, Terrapin Art, Dragon Freak Gaming 78, Somewhat Chaotic Squid God, Azimatra, and so many others who have supported me along this journey, allowing me to keep up with such a cool hobby. I've said it again and again, but there is nothing that makes me feel as good as knowing that you all love to watch me doing what I love. Thank you for the coolest birthday present a girl could ever ask for. I loved getting you all involved in the design process, so maybe in the future I'll hold more polls or try to ask more user input on what cosplays or projects I choose to pursue. I have so many ideas that I want to do this year, and I really need to calm down, because if I try to make them all, I will probably be not alive, but who knows? Not me.